workers map next move.
More locals will be called on to stand up and join the strike.
Minivan crash tests.
The rear occupant was at increased risk of chest injury.
Good morning, I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. 5 Americans detained for years by Iran are now on U.S. soil. 5.5 years. They were freed yesterday after months of secret negotiations.
Welcome to Virginia. Welcome to the U.S.
Jared Genser is the attorney for one of the 5, Shamak Namazi.
He has missed some of the best years of his life, 8 years. He wants to be married and have kids. He now has to figure out where he's going to live, what's he going to do for a living, for a job.
They were accompanied on the flight by presidential envoy Roger Carstens.
On behalf of the President of the United States and the Secretary of State, it's an honor to be the first to welcome you back to the United States of America and to freedom.
Some Republicans have criticized the deal, which gave clemency to 5 Iranian nationals and gives Tehran access to $6 billion worth of frozen oil assets. Following up on a threat made when auto workers went on strike against 3 production plants last week, the United Auto Workers chief says in a new video it's about to expand.
Friday, September 22nd is a new deadline. Either the big 3 get down to business and work with us to make progress in negotiations, or more locals will be called on to stand up and go out on strike.
Impact of it all being felt. One of the largest auto suppliers, Germany's ZF, has already confirmed layoffs, but is not giving numbers. Analyst Mike Wall of S&P Global Mobility says it's likely to get worse.
If this starts cascading to other plants, we've got a lot of Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers that have a significant amount of business with the Detroit 3.
Ford has already laid off 600 workers. GM expects to lay off about 2,000 workers by the end of the week. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Detroit. President Biden is about to speak to the UN General Assembly in New York. CBS's Nancy Cordes has more on his focus.
The war in Ukraine, competition with China, and climate change. Those global flashpoints are at the top of the agenda as President Biden addresses the United Nations today. While in New York, he's also set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, whose government he has slammed as extreme.
Evidence collected by the New York Times, including missile fragments, satellite images, and witness accounts, indicates a missile strike in eastern Ukraine earlier this month that killed 15 civilians was a Ukrainian air defense missile that went astray. Ukrainian officials who blamed Russia are investigating. Here at home from South Carolina, CBS's Christina Raffini has the latest on the fate of a Marine F-35 fighter.
The almost $80 million aircraft built to evade detection did just that and went MIA. But how does one of the world's most advanced aircraft go missing?
It's a bit of a mystery, but this is very much a one-off event.
Admiral James Winfield is a former vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
The F-35 is a very stealthy airplane, so it's possible that if the aircraft was doing simulated air combat, once inside the restricted area, the pilot could have turned off that identification system that all aircraft use in controlled airspace.
The Marine Corps announced it will temporarily shut down aviation operations.
The pilot of the aircraft ejected safely. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says there is credible evidence of a link between India's government and an assassination carried out on Canadian soil in June. The victim was a prominent Canadian Sikh leader shot dead in British Columbia.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen.
India's government has denied involvement, calling the allegation absurd and expelling a Canadian diplomat in retaliation. A new study on minivan safety raises questions about 4 popular models from Honda, Toyota, Kia, and Chrysler. CBS's Chris Van Cleve has the latest crash test results.
In test after test, popular minivans earn low marks in new crash tests from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, focusing on how backseat passengers fare in a head-on collision. IIHS Vice President Jessica Jermakian.
So in all 4 of the vehicles, we saw the rear occupant was at increased risk of chest injury, either because of poor belt positioning or high belt forces.
3 of the 4 minivans received a marginal rating.